Have you read a story in the Draoithe Saga and come away with a classic case of immersion after effect? Let me guess, there are questions which remain unanswered even as the magic expanded, adding another layer to the dream. The grand desire to turn the page to discover what happened next ended with the last leaf turned. If you're asking where the remedy for the book hangover is, you know the answer: read another story. But you aren't ready for the next tale, not yet. The dust needs to settle before you pick up the next volume. So you have found your way here. You aren't alone. Even the author can't get enough. As you hear this, Ophelia writes on. But allow me to offer you a possibility, a reflection on the tale you recently finished, and a way to revisit the story to ease the story blues. Welcome to the Draoithe Saga After Party. Warning, spoiler alerts ahead. Turn back now if you wish to read the story blind.
Welcome back to The Deep Dive. Today we are plunging headfirst into a stack of sources that promise a look inside a world where the myths and legends you thought were just stories. Well, they're walking right among us.
That's right. We've been given access to material extracted from a book titled Panther, which is part of a much larger narrative arc, the Draoithe Saga by Ophelia.
And based on what we have here, this isn't your typical high fantasy quest. Think more along the lines of urban fantasy and paranormal romance, where ancient magic isn't just theoretical, it's a fundamental force. Finding your fated mate often isn't just about romance, it's absolutely critical for balance and, sometimes sheer survival in this place they call the dream.
Yeah, definitely. And we should probably mention, the source material is pretty clear. This world, with its adult themes, fantasy violence, and some explicit situations, is aimed at a mature audience.
Good point. So our mission in this deep dive is to unpack this material for you, try to understand the unique structure of this world, meet some of its key figures, and kind of zero in on the essential knowledge nuggets about this fascinating corner of the dream.
Sounds good. Where should we start? The wider world, maybe?
Yeah, let's unpack this wider world first. The source defines a saga here as a long story of heroic achievement, much like the old Norse tales, right? Chronicling the dramatic history of a specific social group.
Exactly. And the Draoithe Saga fits that mold. It presents this massive story that the author has compartmentalized into miniseries, probably to make it, easier to read.
Makes sense. So what's the core story?
Well, the absolute core narrative driving it all is the founding of an immortal kingdom. This kingdom is located in a specific region called the Deal.
Okay.
And its main purpose, to actively combat forces that are unbalancing the fundamental magic of the dream itself.
Wow. Okay, so the stakes are incredibly high, not just for the characters, but for their whole reality.
Pretty much. And we see this unfolding primarily through the eyes of those connected to its creation, often focusing on couples who find hope and purpose through their bond and their link to this place, Dre.
Right. And the timeline.
Primarily, we're looking at the year 06X in this material, but the history and past events are woven in, revealed gradually, as the characters themselves figure things out.
And the location is surprising.
Yeah, the central physical location for this emerging kingdom. It's a version of Tyler, Texas, but infused with magical realism.
Tyler, Texas. I did not see that coming for an immortal kingdom saving reality.
It's definitely unique. But as the saga expands, other kingdoms and magical communities start interacting with the main group in Tyler. That's the Druid Pack.
Okay, the Druid Pack.
Their shared goal is to fight against this shadowy figure named Peter Elliot and restore balance to the dream's magic.
So it gets bigger than just Tyler.
Oh yeah. This interconnectedness means characters from other tales pop up, and sometimes you'll see the same event depicted from multiple viewpoints, offering, different perspectives.
That overlap sounds really interesting. A good way to tie the whole saga together. So let's zoom in now on Panther, the book at the heart of this deep dive.
Okay, Panther is Volume 3 in the Royal Council miniseries. The author describes it as fast-paced, thrilling, a blend of steamy paranormal romance with dark urban fantasy, all designed to keep you immersed in the dream.
So intense is the word, and the source is very clear. This is not a standalone story.
Correct. Definitely not. The events in Panther happen at the same time as other books, Vampire Knight and Dreamwalker. And looking ahead, scenes from this volume will weave into the next miniseries, Valkyrie Riders.
Understanding that interconnectedness feels really key to grasping the whole Draoithe saga. So this volume, Panther, it focuses on an ex-military guy and a a broken Panther Schleifer.
Yeah, an ex-military lieutenant needing help and a broken Panther Schleifer who's determined to claim him. And that promise of overlapping scenes showing different views definitely happens here.
Which brings us to maybe the most striking thing from Vampire Panther, how this world's magic, especially the fated mate bond, kind of creates destiny even out of violence and trauma.
Absolutely. Ryker and Lily's relationship is a prime example. It forces them to confront their deepest wounds through their most fundamental connection. It's intense.
Let's introduce them properly then. Start with Ryker. Ex-military lieutenant, becomes a vampire panther. His scent is sandalwood and almonds, which seems important.
It is.
And he's called a Zduhaci Unbound vampire. How does he become this?
Well, this is the kicker. He becomes this after being brutally mauled and left for dead by Lily.
By Lily, the Panther Schleifer.
Yes, the very panther who attacked and essentially killed him. No. And here's that incredible twist. He learns that the same panther is his fated life mate.
Wow. Okay, so even though she did that, his first instinct is what?
To heal her. Despite the violence she inflicted, he's immediately concerned about her condition.
That's something else. How did he even survive the attack?
His only chance was accepting something called the Dark Gill, given to him by another character, Andre. The source implies this Dark Gill is the magic catalyst for his transformation.
So he's changed. More vampire than panther now.
Seems that way. More vampire, but he can still shift into a Black Panther form. It's described as having these striking red eyes, cat pupils, and hollow fangs that produce venom.
And that Zduhaci Unbound label you mentioned, is that significant?
Hugely significant. The source emphasizes that unbound Zduhaci are not tolerated in standard vampire societies. Other vampires hunt them down, exterminate them.
So he's an outcast among vampires.
Pretty much, which immediately tells us why Ryker finds he basically can't leave Draoithe without being hunted. He's tied to this sanctuary by the very nature of his existence now.
That's a very high-stakes reason to stay put. Okay, what about Lily, the Panther Schleifer who attacked him?
Lily. Well, physically, she's described 79 years old, blonde, blue eyes, about 5'2", 114 pounds. But the key thing is that she's described as broken by her ordeal, suffering mentally and physically.
Broken.
She has what's called an illness of the mind. She's fading slowly. Her dreams are stuck in this infinite loop. Kind of like what another character Isabel went through.
And the source mentions some pretty horrific trauma she endured.
It does. It's tough stuff. It states she was severely abused, specifically raped 5 times before she could even shift. And then it continued for 7 nights until she finally broke free and ran.
Oh, God.
And her panther, in that desperate escape, killed her last attacker.
That's horrifying. And this trauma, it's why she attacked Ryker.
Directly linked. She attacked him because he carried the scent of her abuser, the name Sanchez is specifically mentioned. Because of what happened in the warehouse, she was terrified of men at Draoithe. Except, interestingly, for Andre.
Andre, the one who gave Ryker the Dark Gill.
The very same.
So, okay, she attacks Ryker, causes this massive life-altering transformation, and his first thought is still about her well-being.
Yes. The source notes he was asking after her for days. He feels she's responsible for him becoming unbound, and he's determined to talk to her.
And other people see a potential connection there.
Yeah, another character, Nadine, actually suggests Ryker could be good for Lily, like a friend, a distraction, maybe someone without too many responsibilities who could offer positive male attention, since she's so scared of other men.
Does Ryker go for this?
He doesn't just agree, he embraces it. He sees helping her as a kind of penance or retribution for his unwitting role through his past link to Elliot Sanchez and what happened to her. He feels he owes her.
Wow.
And get this, he actually says he's happy she attacked him because it gave him a second chance, a new purpose. He felt lost before coming to Draoithe.
That's an incredible way to reframe trauma, finding meaning like that. So how does their first real interaction go, the moment they connect?
It's pretty pivotal. When they first properly interact, Ryker brings her soup, which he heated with his magic. Nice touch. Their fingers touch, and bam. Both feel this intense electric charge, that unmistakable soul-to-soul connection of a fated bond. Because right then, Ryker knows she's his one life mate.
Even with that violent beginning, the bond is instant and powerful.
Totally. And right after this, Lily asks him to stay, to sleep with her, just hold her. The source emphasizes he finds he can't deny her anything. It's what his heart wanted anyway.
So he stays.
He does. He sleeps beside her, holding her close. And she snuggles in, mumbling about sandalwood and almonds being the best cologne. Completely unaware it's not cologne, it's his natural scent, his allure.
Ah, right, his vampire allure. We touched on that. Sandalwood and almonds. So his scent actually calms her.
It absolutely seems to. Ryker's scent, his allure, it seems to melt her anxiety away. The source notes this scent is stronger when he's happy or aroused or deliberately charming people. Apparently, it really affects other women, makes them stare.
Huh. Can she control it?
He can dampen it down, but not turn it off completely. It's just part of him now.
That's a fascinating detail about how magic is just inherent to who they are in this world. How does Lily deal with the guilt of attacking him?
She feels terrible guilt, naturally. But she's also amazed and really touched that he doesn't hate her, that he even takes some blame. It makes her feel fiercely protective, like she wants to keep him, if he can truly forgive her.
And then their pasts collide, right? That deepens the connection.
Yes, this is a huge turning point. Ryker tells her about his military past, serving in Afghanistan, working with this guy Sanchez who went bad.
Sanchez, the name she recognized.
Exactly. Lily immediately recognizes the name from the warehouse, from hearing men talk about who would abuse her next. The source makes it crystal clear. The link between Ryker's past and Lily's trauma is revealed right there. It gives their bond this whole new layer of shared pain and meaning.
So it wasn't random that he smelled like her abuser. He was unknowingly connected. That's heavy. How does the relationship build from there?
Well, there's this powerful scene described in Dallas. Some other women confront them, and Lily, despite being injured herself, publicly and fiercely claims Ryker as her man, defending him.
Oh, wow.
Ryker finds this incredibly sexy, apparently. They share a kiss, she purrs, literally purrs, which gives him immense satisfaction. He tells her he promised to wait for her, that she's worth any suffering.
That's some deep commitment forming fast. And the source mentioned physical intimacy creates another link.
It does. After they make love, a new link forms between them. This connection is noted as lessening the intense pressure Ryker felt around her before. And on a lighter note, Ryker observes they get loud together, suggesting soundproofing might be needed for their room at Draoithe.
Huh. A practical problem for supernatural beings. Okay, let's pull back a bit. Talk more about Draoithe itself, this sanctuary they're building.
Right. Draoithe is definitely setting itself up as an immortal kingdom, but also, crucially, as a place of refuge for those escaping abuse, needing help.
And the leadership.
The leader, the Alpha, is also called the Rurek Guardian of the Realm. That's Luke, a retired colonel. His mate, Eli, who's a Tigress Schleifer, is the Rebanish.
Sounds like a solid command structure. Who else is in their inner circle?
The source mentions an inner circle. There's Fox, he's got multiple titles, King, Ruiri, Guardian of the Sealm. He's got this librarian persona, apparently, and is specifically noted for collecting strays, bringing in people like Ryker and Lily who need sanctuary.
A collector of strays, I like that.
His mate is Artie, who uses white magic. Then there's Javier, a direwolf, the Keeper of the Flame, also a Guardian of the Sealm.
Okay.
Isabel is a Phoenix Schleifer, healed by Javier. She's an artist. And rounding out the group is Nadine, a Philippine Eagle Schleifer who's mate to Andre.
Andre, the vampire who helped Ryker. Got it. Quite a diverse and powerful group. The source also talks about different kinds of magic.
Oh yeah, lots of different abilities. Dreamwalking is a big one. Eli is a natural dreamwalker. Javier can enter dreams to help heal Isabel.
Enter dreams, wow.
Yeah, and Calic, a male Kodiak bear, he's not just a dreamwalker, he can actually control dreams. Melody, an owl Schleifer we'll get to, she dream talks and sleepwalks. And Aedo Locklear, a rescued bear Melody's mate, it turns out he's also skilled at it.
So the dream isn't just sleep, it's like another dimension.
Pretty much. A plane for interaction, healing. Calic and another bear, Grizz, can even teach healing inside the dream world.
Incredible. What other magic types are there?
Artie uses white magic, mainly for physical healing, though, interestingly, it didn't work well with Isabel's Phoenix magic. Eli's white magic skill improved, though, and worked well with her dreamwalking.
Okay. And we saw teleportation earlier with Andre and Nadine.
Right, Andre and Nadine can teleport.
Yeah.
And Mahala, a vampire princess who shows up, she's also something called a V-Justice, and she can teleport too. Ryker thinks this is super cool, especially for vampires traveling during the day.
Useful skill.
Definitely. And Nadine and Mahala actually plan to work together on defensive magic, like shields and wards for Draoithe. And significantly later on, we find out Lily is also V-Justice.
Lily, too. Another layer to her. And Ryker's allure, that's his main thing.
This seems to be his unique vampire ability. Yeah, that charming scent. Even powerful shifters like Eli and Nadine can sense it and are affected by it.
So Draoithe isn't just these powerful individuals, it's actively growing by taking people in.
Exactly, it's a core function, offering sanctuary to other immortals escaping abuse or needing help. Fox, fitting that collector of strays role, consciously brings people in, like Ryker and Lily.
And Luke is actively expanding.
Yeah, Luke is working on growing the pack, increasing their capacity. He even buys a house located right between Fox's and Eli's places, specifically for new arrivals.
Sounds like a deliberate strategy. How does Lily fit into this community long term?
She's offered sanctuary, she accepts, and decides to join the pack. She offers her skills as a chef for a community restaurant they're planning. It's like finding a new purpose, especially since she feels she has nothing left in Houston after everything.
So Draoithe is really becoming this haven built on rescue and community. But it exists because there's a threat, right? This Peter Elliot.
Yes, he's the main antagonist mentioned in this material. Peter Elliot, or just Elliot. He's the shadowy figure responsible for unbalancing the magic, and he's directly connected to those horrible warehouses where immortals were imprisoned and abused.
The kind Lily escaped from.
Exactly. And Isabel was held in a similar place. Lily's escape actually provides the key information they need to fight back.
Oh, so.
Her specific details about the warehouse location near Tanger Outlets I-20 near Terrell is what Fox and Artie used to find it. Luke immediately plans a rescue mission.
I can imagine learning about these places must have hit the pack hard.
Oh, absolutely. The source describes Ryker feeling physically sick and incredibly guilty hearing about Lily's abuse, and especially seeing a video feed of Isabel's brutalization in a California facility.
A video feed. Horrible.
Yeah, and it highlights the visceral reactions of the other men at Draoithe, growling, hissing, roaring, when they learn about how women were being treated. It's deeply personal for them.
So who goes on the rescue mission? Does Ryker go?
No, Luke orders Ryker to stay behind. Protect those at Fox's house while the raid happens. Probably wise, given his state and connection to Lily. The team is formidable, though. Luke, Andre, Javier, Kalik, Miela, and a group of newly arrived dragons.
Dragons, okay, that's new. Was the mission successful?
Yes, the source says the raid works. They rescue 8 people, including some Valkyries who belong to the dragons, and they burn the warehouses down, destroy the facility.
Good. And what was that about Miela?
In a strange twist, Miela leads back a group of men they rescued who are now described as docile and have become Dragon's Warren servants.
Dragon's Warren, sir. Okay, that definitely needs explaining. And it brings us to these dragons who arrived.
Right. 7 dragons show up at Draoithe. They're seeking sanctuary, but also, interestingly, service. They're specifically looking for their fated mates, their Valkyries or riders.
Who leads them?
Their leader is Ash, full name, Emmerich Driscoll, Lord of the Dragons.
And they offer to help Draoithe.
Yes. They offer to serve the Druid Council as protectors of Draoithe. They swear oaths of fealty directly to Luke as Riverwreck. Ash and another dragon named Smoke, or Gaddix Talog, are the first ones to swear.
Protectors, okay. But they have some kind of code.
Yeah, the source mentions this ancient code they police by. It's pretty harsh. Death or service for oath breakers, and for anyone who would force a woman or harm a child. A strict moral guideline tied to their role.
Death or service. Intense. And that service part ties back to the rescued men, the Dragon's Warren.
It seems so. Becoming Dragon's Warren. The source says this turning happens without magic, which is interesting. Suggests more of a fundamental shift in loyalty or being, maybe.
Rather than a spell.
Right. These Dragon's Warren serve the Valkyries by doing menial tasks, cleaning, fetching, cooking, carrying firewood. It's presented almost pragmatically as a solution to Draoithe needing servants, basically using former enemies as hired help.
That's a very unusual approach to dealing with enemies, turn them into staff.
It is. Luke agrees to this system, this policing by the ancient code, but he makes it clear he retains the final authority over punishment within the pack itself.
Smart. Keep control. And did the source hint one of these dragons found his mate already?
It did. Lightning, one of the new dragons, reveals his Rebannik, his Valkyrie. His mate is already in the next house, which strongly suggests it's Melody, the owl shaver we heard about.
Ah, Melody. Another fated pair connecting at Draoithe. Speaking of fated pairs and healing, the source went into detail about healing Artie, Fox's mate.
Yes, that was a really key section showing how community and magic work together there. Artie gets gravely ill mentally after Fox swears fealty to Luke.
Why then?
Her magic gets damaged. She feels like she has to leave or fade away, which would be catastrophic because if she fades, Fox fades too. He apparently can't function without her. The illness stems from Fox becoming a different kind of Ruiri when he swore the new oath to Luke.
Because he was already a Ruiri. Or she was.
Okay, so Fox had turned her into a Ruiri years ago, after her abusive former king, Lothlien, almost killed her. So Fox becoming a different Ruiri under Luke triggers this old trauma connected to her own Ruiri status.
Ah, okay. That's complex. How did Ryker try to help?
Ryker tries using his allure to calm her, figure out what's wrong. He knows it drains him really fast and makes him thirsty using it that way. He managed to mesmerize her for a bit, suggest she sleep.
A temporary fix. So how do they actually heal her?
This is where the Dreamwalkers come in clutch. Calic suggests using the Dream Realm. So Calic, Eli, and Grizz, who we learn is Melody's bearmate, they all go into Artie's dream together to heal her mind.
A dream team for dream healing.
Pretty much. They collaborate inside her dreamscape. Eli, with Grizz helping, focuses on changing the visuals, turning gray, broken grass green, fixing the sky. Calic works on the feel of the place, making a cold lake warm, fixing other elements.
So they're literally like remodeling her subconscious landscape.
That's exactly the picture painted. They guide Artie within the dream to acknowledge these corrected things. And it works. The collaborative magic heals her mind, though the source says she's still fragile afterwards.
What's the recovery plan?
She's told no magic, no shifting for 2 weeks, needs lots of food and rest. She agrees to stay at Draoithe with Fox. And she confirms something hinted earlier. She was the one who initially convinced Fox to join the pack.
Which really underlines how vital they both are to Draoithe's foundation. Okay, this brings us to more new arrivals and how the sanctuary is growing. Melody, the owl Schleifer.
Right, Melody arrives seeking Luke. She's asking about a bear haunting her dreams. She's clearly in need of sanctuary, lost her job, no money.
And the bear in her dreams
is Inyeto Locklear, her fated mate. He is one of the immortals tranquilized by Elliot's men and trapped in the dream walk until the rescue.
So her dream connection was real, with her actual mate who was in danger.
Exactly. Luke immediately insists she stay, offers full financial support. He sees she's connected to the hunted immortals, she's not safe out there. Plus, he sees potential in her skills. She's a fashion designer. Maybe their new tailor.
Practical skills needed too. How does she physically meet Inyeto?
It's quite touching. Melody sleepwalks one night and finds Inyeto the rescued bear, her mate curled up right next to Javier in his room. They're just left there to wake up together.
A quiet, gentle reunion after all that. What about those dragons-worn servants? Any updates?
Yeah, there are 19 of them now at Draoithe, and they need a blood source. Luke makes the practical call, buy rabbits and more chickens, send Fox and Artie off to a feed store.
Draoithe is definitely growing fast. Logistics are becoming a thing.
Totally. The main retreat building is almost finished, planned to be home in about 3 weeks. Luke's busy buying furniture, planning sound and light proofing for the rooms. Very necessary with this crowd.
You think?
Oh yeah. And he notes they need a massive dining table, maybe a huge round one at the retreat, to fit everyone.
It really paints a picture of building something substantial, something lasting. Any final notes on pack structure or roles from the material?
Just a couple of things. Andre and Nadine are formally raised to the council, confirming their leadership spots. The dragons officially swear their fealty to Luke, accepting their role as protectors. And, like we mentioned, it's revealed Lily is also Vigestus, which Nadine thinks Mihaela, the teleporting vampire princess, will be very excited about.
So constant evolution, new people integrating, building the future, all around this core idea of sanctuary.
Exactly. It really highlights how dynamic and adaptive this community is, facing down these huge challenges.
Well, we've definitely taken a deep dive into the Draoithe saga through the lens of Vampire Panther. We've explored a world where myths aren't just stories, they're a very real, magical, and often dangerous reality. We've seen this world built on ancient magic, the powerful, sometimes brutal pull of fated mates, and this urgent fight for sanctuary against a truly nasty force like Peter Elliot.
And we've touched on these really complex characters embodying these themes. Lily, broken but finding strength and purpose. Ryker, the vampire panther, whose violent beginning leads to a kind of heroism and a new life. Luke, the alpha, trying to build this haven. Eli, the dreamwalker, using her unique magic for healing. And Fox, the stoic collector of strays, driven by his bond with Artie.
Yeah, we've learned about the huge dangers they face, the unique abilities they have, dreamwalking, teleporting, that powerful allure, and the incredible lengths they go to protect each other and build this safe place, often literally from the wreckage left by the bad guys.
It really feels like a world where magic draws more magic, where trauma can bizarrely forge destiny, and where building a kingdom means, first and foremost, offering refuge.
So here's something to think about. In a world like this, where magic seems to attract more magic, and even a violent, seemingly random encounter can spark a fated bond tied to the fate of a whole kingdom. How does the very idea of sanctuary, the act of both giving it and receiving it, shape not just the people who find it, but maybe the entire future of their world?
Thank you for your support. For more, visit opheliakey.com. Welcome to the dream. Sincerely. Okay.